Yes. Hi, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Right. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. Yes. So, hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, guys. I hope I'm audible. Right. Can anyone give me the confirmation? Hello. 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 Yeah. Is my screen also shared? Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Telegram link. Uh, okay. I'll tell the mods to paste a link in the Telegram link if possible. You'll get it. Don't worry. Right. Yes. I hope I'm audible. Acha. Any doubts from the previous lecture? In the meanwhile, let me just see the settings. Sir, your background is looking like you sitting on a king seat. Okay, Samaji, thanks for the compliment. Chalo, theek hai. Yes, any doubts from the previous session? Like yesterday we covered Node, right? We did what is Node. We even covered how do you run your React application. We covered the basic difference between React and Angular, that is a library and a framework, right? I hope everyone now knows that React is a library, right? Not a framework. Yesterday, I think most of you were confused, right? Okay, so I can see some doubts that you are saying that you are unable to create a React app, right? So again, two possible reasons for that. One must be that you have not, I would say, installed Node properly, right? Check your settings, check your environment, watch a short YouTube tutorial of 5 to 10 minutes of how to set up Node, right? If your Node will not be set up, you will not be able to run your code, right? As simple as that, right? Then if a node is correctly installed, then check whether you are using the correct command or not. So the command which we use to create a React application, it is create, right, a React app, and here you get the name of the application, right? Whatever name you want to have the application, you can give it, right? So this thing I recommend everyone to use, right? So Aditya, I mean, you can use it. I mean, there are also apart from White, also you can also use things, some other package managers as well. But that's totally up to you. It will not matter. But again, CRA is very much widely used in the industry. That's why I'm preferring CRA here. But you can use any command as per your needs, right? You can also use Jan. Jan is also a very good alternate to CRA, right? So yes, it is asking to enter more. So my project didn't get built. So Aditya, just the reason could be that you're not changing the directory, right? So let's suppose you are okay. I'll just open my VS Code for that matter, right? Let me just open it again for you. All right. So this is the React application that I have here, right? See carefully. It has a folder called as Reactjs, and inside the folder there is a file of demo one, right? So in order to run my application successfully, I need to change the directory to this application, that is demo one, right? So if I do, so currently now if I I'll also show you, right? Yeah. So if I do npm start now, right, it will give me an error. Why? Because I'm not in the correct directory, right? In order to run my code, I have to be in a correct directory for that matter, right? So yeah, as you can see, I have an error here. I think some of you yesterday were getting this error. So for that, you have to change the directory. How do you change it? You type in the command called cd, right? After cd, you just type in the name of the application. What is the name of the application here? It's demo one, right? So again, if you do cd and you do demo one, and now press enter, and now press the command of npm start, right? Npm start, and now in this case, you will definitely get your JavaScript application running, right? Sir, please read my question. Pratik, what's your question? Uh, can you please post it again? I think I missed it. Okay, so yesterday you showed h tag into JS file. Why was it not HTML file? I didn't get your question exactly, but yeah, I'll just clear it up. I'll just cover components today, right? Acha, okay. So I think that the routes are created enough. Now let's just get ahead. Now let's just get moving to the further topics of React, right? So first thing first, acha, I told you, right? It has many files and many folders, right? As you can see, you have got this public folder, right? You created that? No, you did. You just wrote you just wrote a simple command, and with the help of that command, you were able to do that, right? Just give me a second, guys. Just give me a second. Yeah. Okay. So I told you, right? So what are these application? Hello, sir. Good evening. No issues. No issues as well. Okay. So you have this application, right? So I'll quickly give you a brief of this application. But as you know proceed with the lectures, as you proceed with your experience with Reactjs, you'll be just get to know that, right? So this public folder right here contains all the public folders, right? Public files. Public files are the files those who, right? Those which are shared publicly, right? For example, this logo that you have, right? This logo is a React logo, right? Remember I showed you on the day one itself, you see a nice revolving logo. So that logo is where it's in the public folder, right? And similarly, you also have an image. You have this image as well. You have two logos based on your resolution, screen resolution. They just get loaded up, right? Apart from that, you have a file called as index.html, right? Okay, very important, right? Whenever you start a React application, index.html is the first file that is loaded up. Yeah, very important. Whenever you start a React application, index.html is the first file that is loaded up, right? Now, apart from this, you have manifest.json. This is a type of, I would say, uh, it contains the dependencies, the name of your application, and things like that. You can ignore it for now, right? Apart from this, right, we have a source folder. Now, this src, right? This src, whenever you will work on a React application, you will be using this src folder as well, right? So this is the file. This is the folder that will be used most, right? You just have to ignore the public folder, the git ignore folder, everything, right? You just have to use the source folder. It contains app.css, it contains app.js, app.test, index.css, index.js, logo, vitals, setup, and things like that. Right? Chalo, I'll tell you. So app.css. Acha, app.css will contain the CSS of your whole React application. Right? So if I just comment out all the CSS part from here, and now if I see my application, if I refresh it, so all the CSS is gone, right? What did I tell you? App. So what did I tell you? This app.css will contain the CSS of your whole React application, right? So let's suppose I want to have uh, app header, right? Let me just remove this logo from here, or let me just do something. Let me just go to the body, that is the background, or not even the background. Let me just come here to the app. Let me just do text align. Let's suppose left, right? As soon as I do left, right, so as you can see, oh, okay, I think it's not the text. Let me just do one thing. Let me just try to change the background color. Okay. Right. So I'm just giving it a short example here. We'll do a project that will contain all the things. So let's suppose I come here, right? Let's suppose I come here and I just do a background color of let's suppose red, right? For that matter. So, okay. And now as soon as I come here, as you can see, you have got the red color. Okay. So this is, again, I told you, this will contain the CSS of the whole application and things like that. Now, so this, you have app.test. It contains the test files. You do not need to take care of worry about it for now, right? It is not used that much. It is used when you are about to deploy a project and test it against some test cases, right? This index.css, remember we had a file called index.html. That is the first file that is loaded up, right? So the CSS of index.html is contained in this file, right? I mean, it's very basic, right? So you have a file called index.html. Here you have a file called index.css, right? So whatever CSS you write here will be reflected in the index.html. That's very basic, right? You all know that. Again, index.js, right? So as I told you, index.js, again, Index.html, index.css, and index.js will all contain the files and applications that you write in the index files, right? Again, as you see, right, in index.js, we have a thing called as app, right? Now, what is this app, right? This app is the same app that is app.js right here. So you can say that index.js contains app.js. Why? You can see here, it says, right, inside the strict mode, it has app. Now, if I click on app.js, I'll just land up here, right? And this is a component. I'll talk about components in the later part, but this is what it is for, right? So apart from this, we have test files, we have CSS, we have JS, this logo, we have common logos, you can just ignore it for now, and this file, right? This is the most important one. These are the dependencies, right? Okay, so what are dependencies? Dependencies are, files, or dependencies, as the name suggests, are dependent files. Those are needed to be run when you create any project, right? So let's suppose you are having, let's suppose you are having routes. Routes is again a very common package we use for routing, right? So whenever you install route, you have a dependency here, right? And this dependency, right, this development dependency that is there is again based on other dependencies. So that dependencies you have in package.log.js, right? So as you can see, it has got many thousand lines of code, right? It is like, it will go on and on and on, right? So you can just just ignore it for now, right? You do not have to worry about it. What are those files? In short, package.listen has some dependencies, and those dependencies are dependent on other dependencies, right? And those other dependencies are stored in package.log.js, right? I hope I'm clear with this part, right? So this was the overall, I would say, structure. A quick brief introduction about the structure, how the structure is, and where do we have to work, right? So that you guys do not get lost up, not see all these files and do not get overwhelmed. Okay, so what is that, right? So this was a quick gesture. Again, as I told you, right, as you will proceed further with the applications, you will just get to know more about it, right? Do not worry about that one. Which part, Ayush? Which part are you trying to see? Which part? Okay, so as I told, right? Okay, so Chitresh is asking, can I know the difference between package JSON, sorry, package.json and package log.json? So as I told you, right, package JSON will contain all the dependencies, all the header dependencies, right? As you can see that this dependency is again, so it might be case, right? You have a dependency, and that dependency is again dependent on 10 other dependencies, right? So the other so the dependencies that are there, let's suppose this development is based on 100 new dependencies. So all those new dependencies will be stored in package log.json. That is the only reason that it has many lines of code, right? And this has very very less lines of code, because it does not have the whole dependency. It just have the main part, and the rest of the codes, rest of the lines are there in this one, right? I hope I'm clear with that part. Chalo, theek hai. With that being said, we'll move to the most common, most widely used things in React, and that is a component. That is a component. That is a component, right? Any idea of what are components and why do we use components? Anyone? Those who have a common understanding of React.js, right? Anyone can let me know what are components? Anyone? Any components? Can anyone let me know what are components? Package.json will have be the version of the framework. Yes, you can say, right? So, yep, exactly. Here we can, yes, exactly. So, okay, let me just come to a very a website. Let's just come to Amazon.com, right? So this is a website, right? This is you must have used at least some phases of your life, this website, right? So okay, as if I see it as in terms of a developer, right? Let's suppose I have given a task to just replicate this lines of code, right? Then how will I replicate it, right? So if I talk about in terms of React, right? So these are components, right? Let's suppose you have this file, right? This is a nav bar, right? This is a navigation bar that you have. I can think of it as a component, right? What do you mean by component? Component are just reusable block of codes, right? Similar to they are very similar to functions, but here the thing here is that you can divide your components into different parts. Yes, exactly said by name. Components are reusable block of code, right? They are just nothing. They are just reusable block of code as we have in functions. And functions are the same, right? Functions are also reusable block of code, but here we use the word as components, right? So if I talk about in terms of developer, right? So I can think of this as a component, right? This carousel is a different component altogether, right? This blocks, this div, these divs that are a separate component altogether. This also deals component. Again, I can think of it as another component that is a part of the website as well. And again, so if you scroll down to the bottom of the part, this is the footer section, right? I can think of it as a different component, right? I can just reuse that code whenever I want to. Let's suppose I want to make another application that should be having the same or similar what do you say, this footer, right? I can just reuse that, as simple as that, right? So if I talk about components, right, very important, right? Components are just reusable, yes, exactly, block of code. Okay, there's a reusable block of code that helps us in code redundancy, right? So that helps us in code redundancy, right? What do I mean by redundancy is that writing multiple codes, multiple lines of code again and again, right? That is a redundant one, right? Exactly. So acha, how do you create component? Let's just directly jump to the code part. Let's just see the theory behind, right? Okay. So let me just come here, right? So let me just cross out this part. Let me just cross out this part as well. Let me just so okay, I told you, right? Whenever you'll be working on any React application, that will be where? That will be in the source file. Yes, okay. That will be in the source file. Now, source folder, sorry. Now I am here in the source folder, right? In order to, again, a very important concept, in order to make any component, the best approach here is to make a new folder called component. So I'll just make a new folder that will contain components that will have every component, right? So compo COMPON, this component. And so it is my wish, right? You can do whatever different that you want. It's totally up to you, but this is a general practice that every component should be in a separate folder, and that folder you can name it component, because it will uh, it will help you to write more cleaner code. And if there are any what do you say, bugs or any errors, you can just directly go to the particular component, and you can just search for that, right? So I have this component, right? So let's suppose I want to have a nav bar. Let's suppose it's similar to one. Okay, I'm just giving a very practical example, right? Here you have a nav bar, right? Let's suppose I'm a developer and I want a nav bar here. So how will I get that nav bar? Let's suppose I come to my React application and I make a component, and that component is called as navbar.js, right? So this is a nav bar, right? Again, so a component, I told you, is a function, right? It's just commonly a function. So I'll just make a function. I'm using a shortcut. You can just, if you want, you can just make a, this is a normal function, right? I hope everyone knows what function is. Now I'll just write one thing. I'll just make h1, right? And I'll just say this is a, and now we can use Bootstrap code. Yes, we can, right? You can use any CSS libraries that you want. That's totally up to you, right? Now this is I would say a navbar component, right? This is a navbar component. No, we'll be doing it, right? So again, acha, now the first question that will come up to your mind, in your mind is, what language are we using here, right? Is it JS? Is it HTML? Because right, this is a JS file, right? This is the JS file. So you guys must be wondering, right? How are we able to write HTML code in a JS file? Right? Is it JS? Is it HTML? What is it? So put it down in React. So what is the shortcut for using the function? It is, I'll tell you. We have a what do you say? We have an extension for that. I'll tell you what the extensions are. Okay? I'll tell you the extensions also. In React, we use a language You can call it a language, right? You can call it language, and that is right, and that is called JSX, right? JSX stands for JavaScript XML, right? So, one more thing that JSX, right? JSX is, I would say, closely 100%, right? Closely 100% similar to JavaScript, right? So that is why it is told to have a thorough knowledge of JavaScript before coming to React, right? I think now you guys must be able to relate it very closely, that why do we need JavaScript? Why do we need JS to learn React? We need JS to learn React because the React.js is based on a language that is called JSX, right? And that JSX language is 100%, I would say, closely 100% similar to JavaScript, right? Acha. So someone was asking like, what shortcut did I use? Acha. So talking about shortcuts, right? I would suggest you one thing. Like you might feel bad for it, but using shortcuts while learning, right? They're not recommended at all, right? I'm using shortcut because I have a practice. I can write the whole code without seeing anything. In order to save time, I use shortcut, right? But if you're learning, right? If you're on the learning stage, I would just recommend you to not use shortcuts and just practice code by writing, by typing, right? But if you're asking, I'll tell you the extension, right? That extension is called ES7. We just type in ES7. Yeah, no, yeah, this one, EX7 React, Redux, GraphQL, and React snippets, right? Just install this extension, right? The name is, as you can see here, I'll just write the name in the Excel drawer as well. So here is the name, right? Just install this extension, and this extension will help you to use many shortcuts, right? If you just come here, to the this what do you say, the methods, right? So it has all the shortcuts. You can just go to the shortcuts, export, you use all these things, right? Dob, prompt, cp. For React, you have imr, that stands for import, right? uh, you also have Redux, right? You can also import Redux, and you can also do things like that also. And you also have props, right? Props are again a thing that I'll tell you. You can just export them, right? Okay, so just go through this extension, right? Just go through this extension. It has all the things for you, right? Uh, yes, this one also, right? So and for creating a the shortcut for, I'll tell you one shortcut that is used widely. So the shortcut for creating React, or I would say a functional component, is RFC, right? It is RFC. I'm not focusing on RAFC because it's an arrow function, and most of you might not know what arrow functions are. That's why I'm just going with this command only, right? So if you just type RFCE, you will just get this folder. You'll just get this code snippet, right? JavaScript JS is not a language. Yes, Aditya, I told you, right? JavaScript JSX is 100% similar to JavaScript. JSX is 100% similar to JavaScript, right? You can use it any of the files as well, right? JSX stands for JavaScript XML. Yes, it does. Right? You can simply JavaScript where we can integrate it with HTML is yes, Ayush. So Ayush, I'll tell you one thing, right? JSX is only used in React, right? You cannot say integrate, but you can say that JSX is extensively used in React because it supports multiple things, right? It's JavaScript XML. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? It's JavaScript XML only. Right? So for React, which one is best, Bootstrap or Tailwind? Sankalp, that's totally up to your choice, right? That's your personal opinion. That's your personal opinion. But I would say you can consider Bootstrap because Bootstrap has okay. I'll just show you, right? You have a thing called as React Bootstrap as well. So just imagine the power of React, right? That Bootstrap community has just created Bootstrap for React as well. So if you talk about in terms of scalability, if you talk about in terms of easiness, then you can go ahead with React. But if you would like to have multiple customizations, then I would say you can go ahead with Tailwind as well, right? It's totally up to you. They're saying no, it's JavaScript XML. Who said JS is only to there are the libraries who use JSX, React, Vue. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, Aditya, I was just telling that in React we can use JSX, right? We can use JSX for that. But yeah, again, yes, I'm not sure about that. Maybe JSX is also used in Vue.js. I've personally not used Vue for now, but yeah, it might. Don't just quote me for that. Chalo, ठीक है. Okay, so moving further, right? We have components, right? I told you we have components. So, acha. So let's suppose this we have as a component, right? Now, again, let me make another component. Let me just name it. Let me just make it footer. Footer.js, right? Again, I'll just use the command called as rfce. I'll just press enter. I'll have this this snippet, right? Okay, so I'll make a heading, and I'll say this is a footer section, right? This is a footer section. Now, chalo, okay. I have no. Pay attention here, right? I have a footer and I have a navbar, right? Now, how will I make sure that, so initially, if I come to my React application, I'll only see hello, let's upgrade, right? Because there are things that we need to do in order to, just import those, I would say, components to our app.js file, right? So I told you, app.js will be a main file. Each and every component that you import will be imported on app.js. Why on app.js? Because here you have index.js, right? In index.js you have got app, so all the things that app will contain will be reflected on your whole application, right? So I'll just quickly do one thing, right? I'll just remove up this file. Now the most important part, right? How do you import your, I would say, components so that they're reflected in the main application, right? It's very simple, right? I hope you all know what HTML tags are. Just like an HTML tag, just import it like that. So I'll just have open Crocodile now. Just now type the name of the navbar, name of the component. So that is navbar, right? This navbar, right? So as soon as I do here, right, this navbar, and you can see that it shows the location, right? What is the location of the navbar? It is ./component/navbar. That means inside component, I have a file called as navbar, and that navbar is the navbar that I want to have, right? If I just import this navbar, right, as you can see, so the the extension that I installed, that will automatically import it for me, right? I'll just have to give it the proper name, and if I do it, if I have the name that I want to, it will just import it for me. It will just automatically import it for me. But in some cases it might not automatically import. So in that case, it's very simple. What you have to do to import a component, just have to type in the keyword called as import, right? Then the name, let's suppose it is navbar, and the location, right? I want to import a navbar from a location. So what is the location? It is ./component/navbar, right? So this is how you will import a component if it is not automatically imported. If it is not automatically imported, right? So the next component that I have here is, it is a footer component, right? So it is a footer component, this one, right? So again, if I do this, it will automatically be imported. As you can see, I've got a footer imported as well. Now if I come to my React application, right, now I have this, right? Okay, let me just move the CSS as well, because it's looking very untidy. So yes, app.css it is, and yeah, this one, right? So let me just come here, and as you can see, I literally have the components imported, right? So just see how clean it has become, right? If I just see this part, right? Let me just cross it for now. Yeah. Now if I just import this part, if I just import a navbar, or if I just import a footer, right, this code is so much clean, right? I have the code of navbar separately that I do not even want to touch, right? Once I write this navbar component, I can import it in multiple number of times. Let's suppose I want to have a navbar code twice, right? That will mean that I have to write the same code twice. No, I can just just paste this navbar code and it will import it twice. So if I come here, I can see two navbar components, and this navbar is just a single line of code here. But trust me, in real life applications, a single component has thousands of lines of code. It literally has got 1,000 lines of code. In that case, it will be beneficial very much, right? HTML tags which cell closing tag? Yes. So sandbox details. Sandbox is again it's a it gives an environment to write React code, right? That you can explore by yourself. I think there is nothing much there in that, right? Uh, Ultimately, sir, group is full, cannot join. Okay, I'll talk to team and I'll let you know. I do not worry. Sir, automatically import statement लिखी नहीं आती मेरे VS Code में. Okay, so Aish, if that's the case, right? If that's the case, you can just directly, I would say, import it. So you have several extensions for that. If you have installed, you have to install this extension called as this one, EX7, right? It will directly import it for you. But if it is showing some error, it might happen, right? Even I also personally feel that sometimes the extension might not work properly. It has happened with me many times, right? So this will help you just if that is not the case, you can just import it from here as well. No issues with that, right? No issues. Then it also happens, right? Some of the times you can just directly import it as well. No issues. Okay? I mean, it's good if you have a practice of importing it separately as well. Okay. So this is all about components, right? So I hope what are components, what are components and how do we use components and how do we import components. I hope these things are clear to you, right? Can I have yes in the chat box? Yes. So I hope what are components are clear and how do we import components, right? So Ayush says yes. What about others? Okay. So what about others? Ayush. Okay. Vikram. Chinmay. Tailwind gives you more control. Yes, you can see everything. Yes. Yes. Is it compulsory to create a component? Vinay, not compulsory, but it's an ideal practice to create a component, right? So let's suppose you're not creating a component. If you will not create a component, right, you will just have to write this whole code in the app.js file, right? Then what is the use of what is the use of a React application? Right? A React application, I told you, React is used, it makes your code optimized. It helps you with the SEO purposes. It also, has a very good community support. So, and very important part of React as well, that it makes your code cleaner, right? Then if you just use it, if you just write the whole code in app.js, and how how will you take the advantage of React, right? And it will just be a normal application. A difference between class-based components and function-based component, if you could tell us. So Aditya, no, Ayush, right? Ayush, so function-based component, again, when React was earlier made, we used to use class-based components, right? Class-based components consist of class, right? It followed object-oriented structure. I hope you guys know what do you mean by OOPS, right? That's an object-oriented structure. You create a class for each and every component. But now, with the coming of with the coming of functions, we are again and again using functions, right? So that is why we are having functional components. Honestly saying, functional components are a bit easier, bit hassle-free to cooperate with, but class component were getting, you have to create a class for each and every component, so that was getting very hectic. So React, just replaced all the class components with the functional components, right? So just using function, right? So as you can see, this component, we have a function here, right? If you were using class-based component, this instead of function would be a class, right? As correctly said by Aditya, class-based are outdated, right? Not that's why, that is the only reason why we use function. Function give you more flexibility and more easier. It gives you more easier environment to code, right? Okay. With that said, let's move ahead. So okay, let me just remove this header file, right? Because it was giving the CSS for that one. Okay. Okay. Let me just comment out this part because we only want one navbar here. And let me just remove this part here as well. चलो ठीक है. Yeah. So the next topic that comes here up is adding CSS in your React application. Adding CSS in your React application. Okay. So anyone has got any idea how do we add CSS in React? So if you talk about in terms of having a simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, there are three ways in order to add CSS to your HTML file. One way is what? It's inline. The second one is internal, and the third one right here you have is external, right? But here, since you're using React and you do not have a separate file for CSS here, you have the flexibility of adding CSS to each and every component altogether separately, right? Ravi, yeah, I'll come to the doubt. Don't worry, right? When I'll explain props, I'll come to the doubt. Okay? Yeah. Yes. So the first way, right? In React, the first way to use what do you say, a component, a styling component, is by using a key tag called a style. So it's very simple, right? You just have to type in a style, and here you have to mention what style you have to use. Let's suppose, and by the way, style is an object here, right? So if I want to, I can also have this one. I can have const styling equals to, now I can, let's suppose I want to mention background color. Let's suppose, yeah, background color. Okay. And let's suppose I want to use so we not have a dash here, right? It's background color, and let's suppose I want to use a color of red, right? And if I do this, right, const style equals styling, you will have this. So what did I do here? I just created an object. I hope you guys know what are objects. If you're coming from JavaScript background, objects are a key, structure that stores a key and a value pair, right? So this is the key right here, and this is the value, right? Now if I just come here, if I just do text align, okay, not text align, let it be as it is. Let me just see if it is coming or not. It is not. Let me just see. Say background, its color, right? Background color is, let's suppose, red. I've already saved it. Let me just see if it is working here or not. Right? Again, look, it is right. So how do we add? Yes, I know how to save a file company. Okay. Okay. So this is how you add a CSS file. How do you add a CSS file? It's very simple. Let's suppose you want to have different CSS files for different components, right? So you have a keyword that is called style, right? And in order to add styling, I think the spelling mistake. It stands for it has a capital C over here, right? And that styling will help you. You have to make an object. Let's suppose background color and text line and align items and things like that. And that's how you can set up a CSS file. So if I want to comment out this part, right? If I want to make my code more cleaner and more neater, I'll just do one thing. I'll just declare an object here, styling, and I'll just use the styling object here. I will just use the styling object here with the proper color, proper spelling, right? If I come here, if I just refresh, I'll still have that, right? Yes. Acha. And one thing more, as correctly pointed out by Vishnu, in React, we use camel casing, right? What is camel casing? Camel casing is, it's a just different a form of writing in which you start your naming convention by small letters, and after let's suppose it has two parts. Let's suppose it has background color. So the background color, you write it in small. You started with small cases, and the color part, right? The C should be capital. So you start the first half with the small letters. Whereas if you go to the second half, your C will be capital here, right? Your C will be capital here. As simple as that, right? So here it is. Here it is single page application, right? As I told you, not a single page application. I was just using single page reading single page application. That's what came to my mind. You're using and you're just adding utility classes here, for example. Yes, exactly. Okay. So this was the first way of adding CSS, right? Now, let's suppose I want to, again, I told you, right, about index.css, where you have to, sorry, app.css, right? This is the CSS of your whole application. If I just comment out this whole part, right, I can just comment it out as well. And let's suppose I give it a class name. Let's suppose in React. So what did you have in normal like normal HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? In that, you only, if you want to give uh, a class to any I would say any or any tag, you use a keyword called as class, right? But here you have a keyword, and that keyword is called as class name, right? That keyword is called as class name. So instead of class here, you use a keyword called as class name. As simple as that. So again, what did I say? I just said that in order to use class in order to use a class in tags in HTML, instead of class, you use the keyword that is called class name. Let's suppose I'm giving it a class name of navbar, right? We'll quickly come to app.css, right? And how do we get the reference? We use a dot notation. I hope everyone knows it, right? How do we access a class name in CSS, right? So what was the name of the class? It was navbar. Okay, I have a navbar here and this thing, right? So I can add any CSS that I want to. Let's suppose my first CSS is background color, and let's suppose I want to set it as aqua, right? And let's suppose I want to have the font family as let's suppose sand or a monospace, right? So if I come here, right? If I come here, as you can see, I have the CSS styling here as well, right? I have the CSS styling. So what did I do? I just, I told you, right? This will contain the CSS of your whole application, of your whole project. So this is the only reason that whenever I'm having this app navbar, right, in this app.css, so it will just see the class name, and it is there in the, again, it is there in the navbar section, navbar component, and it is applying the CSS property here as well, right? I hope it is clear, right? So the first method was to use inline styling. That was with the help of an object, right? You create an object like this. Whereas the second one is navbar.js, right? As I told you, you can add app.js like this in, right? Now the third way is using external CSS, right? Now this one, I want you guys to try it out. Again, you just have to do one thing. You just have to create another file. Let's suppose you want to have uh, CSS, external CSS for only navbar.js, right? You can create another component, and that component would be called navbar.css, and that you can just import it, right? After importing, you can just use it as per your needs, and that will be done, right? Now I want you guys to try out this part. If you face any difficulties, you can let me know. So please tell me again how to import component. Okay, Samarjit. So in order to import a component, you just have to type in a keyword that is called import. The name of the component. Let's suppose I want to give it a name of footer. From, you have to mention the path. So what is the path of my footer? It is inside component dot slash component, and inside component I have what? I have a footer one. So this is how we import it, right? I hope it's clear, Samarjit. Okay, right? Great. So I told you how to add CSS, right? Can anyone let me know how do we add inline CSS in the tags? Anyone? How do we add inline CSS? Yes, Aditya. Yeah. style tag, exactly. Okay. Exactly. So using style tag, and if you want to use CSS in order for a whole application, you have app.css for now. Exactly. Very good. Yes, exactly, Vishnu. I mean that's see that you guys are really attentive and you guys are really getting it, because style tag is a very initially what we do not have any habit of writing objects, so it's very confusing. So please make sure that you are getting that part. I thought you will not be able to get it, but you got it in one go. That's really great, right? Using the style tag. Functional keyword, exactly. So there are three ways. The first way I told you is style tag, where you have an object, right? Second one is this app.css, that is the CSS of your whole application. The third one is external styling, that you have to make a file for each and every component, and you have to just import that file. Yes, got it. And how to that's done, right? So export it. Yes, in the legal picture, exactly. Okay. Acha. So someone was also asking me how to submit the assignment and is there an assignment or not. So yes, there is an assignment. So go on to this website, LetsUpgrade.in. That's the official website. The link is also given in the description box. Just sign in first. Right? How do you sign in? Just an option to sign in here. Sign in using the credentials, right? Just refresh it. Yeah, right. For those of you who are already not enrolled in the course, please make sure to enroll. Right? How would you enroll? Just scroll to the bottom of the part. This is the React.js Essential Bootcamp, right? I told you yesterday as well, right, about the bootcamp and how to enroll. Yeah, I think most of you must have enrolled for now, right? With that being said, let's go to the My Program section. So here you have the React.js bootcamp. Can we submit the assignment tomorrow? Yes, I'm not sure. I think you can, right? You can before 8 p.m. tomorrow, because tomorrow is the last day and you can do it. But I'm not sure about this. Let the mod answer that. Okay. So in here, you just see day 2, right? Props. This prop and state will be doing on day 3. That's okay. And there's some basic hooks, right? So there's an option here to mark the attendance. So click on mark attendance here, right? Give it some rating as per your need. Which premium program are you more interested in? So you have 2 programs, right? The Java and DSA and the full stack one. Let's suppose I'm doing DSA for now, and I'm just doing nothing for now, right? Now, as soon as I refresh the page, I instead of 23, I have 46.15%, right? Remember, you'll be only eligible for certificates once you cross the 50% bar, right? If you not cross the 50% bar, you'll not be eligible for the certificates, right? So just come here. Just there's an option here to view and submit the assignment, right? Just click on the assignment here, right? Just read the assignment page, and you have to attach a GitHub link, right? For those of you who do not know how to attach, how to use a GitHub, how to import GitHub, you can also use the Google Doc file, right? You can just paste your code in the Google Doc file and attach the Google Doc file link here. As simple as that. Okay. So can you please tell what is so? Yeah, it's here, right? You can just read the assignment from here. Create a web application which toggles the background color on every web page, on every toggle, right? This is a very simple assignment. You guys will be able to do that. It's very simple, right? Once you do it, just attach the GitHub link or a Google Drive or a Google Doc link, right? So as simple as that. Now, with that being said, let's come to the courses, right? We currently have 2 courses. One is the Java DSA and one is the full stack one, right? So, yeah, here is the Java DSA. So again, I think you guys must be having this much of knowledge that all the syllabus that we cover up is not possible to cover it in 3 days itself. So for that, if you are really keen and really interested in having a full-fledged knowledge, I would just request you to just go through this course, right? Just go through this course. It has 3 months of extensive DSA problem solving, right? I mean, why do we need problem solving? Because in any company, right, the first exam is the online assessment round, and the online assessment round contains coding questions, right? So it will be having 3 months of extensive DSA, right? 120 hours of live interviews, right? Live learning, 3 mock interviews, 100 plus problems to solve, and you have an assurity to get placements within 180 days, right? So if you're really interested in placements and you want to just make it your career, just go ahead with this one, right? And if apart from this, if you have any issues, any doubts, you can just revert to the team and they'll surely get back to you, right? It's not marking the attendance. Acha. In that case, yes, you can just mail us on support at LetsUpgrade.in. They'll get back to you, right? Acha. Again, so similarly, you also have a second course that is the Java. Sorry, that is the full stack development, right? So what are we doing here? We are doing front end part, right? So React.js comes in front end, right? I hope you all know what is it, why do we even use Reactjs? We use Reactjs to bring to build a single page front end application, right? So if you're really interested in programming, you might want to try out this part, full stack development course, right? So it will contain the backend plus the front end part, right? You can see the information, 100 plus live learning, placement support, and the most important part, most important part is the is building projects, right? So the more number of projects you build, the more you'll get better at it, right? So absolutely up to you, right? And the second part here is the B.Tech part, right? I'll just quickly open the YouTube. Just go to LetsUpgrade, right? Just click here. Right, so you have the link, this one, right? This B.Tech, right? So for those of you are interested in pursuing B.Tech, who are still in your, I would say, 12th grade, or who are droppers, right? Who would like to, for exploring options for pursuing B.Tech, you can just try out this part, right? So how is it different from the normal B.Techs that you have? So again, you simply get minimum placement assurity, right? And that too with the package of 8 LP. That is the minimum package that I'm offering you. Shivam, 50%, right? So again, you also get internship opportunities in your internships. So right, just try out if you would like to. And if you think that if you think that you have some friends or some cousins who would like to try out the B.Tech one, you can just refer them also. If you click on this link, you have a referral link, right? If you click on this referral link and they just enroll by your referral link, you might not might you will get a chance to win rupees 80,000 in cash or a MacBook M Air 1, right? So please see if you think that you are have some cousins or friends who like to pursue, you can just share this link with them, right? Assignment deadline is till tomorrow. I would say 7:30 or till 8 p.m. Right? Not 8, I think till 7:30, because after that the certificates will be generated and you'll get the certificates. Sir, how much is the B.Tech course fee? B.Tech fees is around I'm not sure. I think it's around 12 or 13 lakhs. I'm not sure about that, but you'll get it somewhere in the website itself. But as I can recall, it's around 12 or 13 lakhs, not more than that. I think the mod will let you know. Yeah, it's 12 lakh, right? So, yeah, for 4 years. That but not for a single year, for 4 years. That is three yeah, that is 3 lakhs per year. Okay. So I hope it's clear, right? So recapping, what did we today? We learned about components, right? What are components? How do we use them? Uh, we also learned about how to add styling, right? How do we add styling? What are the ways of adding styling in React? So you can just just revise out this part, and tomorrow we'll be having the most important part of it, that is props, right, and states, right? So most important one, props and states. Not miss tomorrow's lecture. It's very important, right? So you can just let us know, right? just revise, and if you have any doubts, so again, first 5 to 10 minutes we'll be devoting to the doubt session, and with that, after that, we'll be just continuing with the lecture, right? So that was all for today's part. I hope you liked the lecture, right? I hope you got to learn something at least, right? With that being said, I'll take a leave, and we'll meet tomorrow at the same time, right? Bye everyone.
Hey, hi everyone. So my name is Sai Kiran and I'm the founder and CEO of LetsUpgrade, and I'm having some amazing news for every one of you. LetsUpgrade, in collaboration with ITM Skills University, is launching the first B.Tech CSE program that we love to share with you all, guys. 6 features. Number 1, 100% job guarantee to all the students joining this particular program with minimum 8 LPA. Number 2, 1-year paid internship in product/MNC companies. Number 3, taught by real developers working in the industry in top companies. Number 4, amazing campus, a campus which is like we work in Mumbai that we are building for you all, guys. Number 5, build lots of projects which are like real world applications, highly scalable applications from Hotstar to Zoom to your own Zomato. Number 6, you are gonna love the community collaborations that we guys have done. We are collaborating with 13 plus tech communities to give you the same environment what IITs and NITs have. Meet lots of industry people, participate in hackathons and meetups to understand what is running in the industry. That's what these are the 6 features which we have. You can check out the program on our website, that is isu.ec.in. Check out B.Tech there, you will find it. That's it, guys. Bye-bye.